Hello, everyone. You're listening to Lipstick and Leather, and I am in Las Vegas with Mr. Phil Lewis of LA Guns. In-person interview. How's the day treating you, Phil?
That's fantastic. Welcome to Vegas. You've come at a really good time. We've got fantastic weather here. I've lived here now for a couple of years, and you have to endure unbearable summers, heat that you just can't imagine. I mean, hottest place on earth quite often. So now it's cool. It's really nice, and I love it here. This is great. But apparently it's cold in LA too. So
okay, now once the band get to recording again, will Eddie Kramer produce?
Well, yeah, he's the obvious choice, isn't he? The last 4 albums we did with Andy Johns really got into a good groove, and unfortunately he's no longer with us. And Andy always said that Eddie was the guy. Andy Johns was a big disciple of Eddie Kramer's.
Perfect.
And Eddie wants to do it. He wants us to go to New York and do it, and basically he just wants us to move in to the studio and just write and record, mix and finish all at once. He wants to be involved in everything, like the conception, the early stage of the writing. He's really on board. It's just a question of us finding the money to pay for it.
Mm-hmm. And it'll be the first album in a while you guys haven't recorded in LA.
No, it's we love making records, love writing new material, love putting out new records and it getting great reviews, but unfortunately it barely pays for itself now. Mm-hmm. So you get a A-list producer like Eddie. And in a real studio, we don't want to make a record, a Pro Tools record in somebody's bedroom.
Right.
We want to do it properly. So, it's still, in negotiating right now. We're coming up with the money. We'll see.
For sure. Maybe Cleopatra again?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just it's just like when you make a record, it's nice to have a little bit left over to pay the band. If we do it with Cleopatra and Eddie, we will. That's it. We'll like barely break it. We won't break even. We'll actually go in the red to do it. And it'd be great if we put out a world-class record and it's sold, God, in thousands of copies, doesn't even millions. But it ain't gonna happen. Mm-hmm. So it's it might be it for a while. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Well, I'll cross my fingers.
Yeah, I mean, believe me, I loved it. And when I listened to Waking the Dead and Tales from the Strip, I hear that this is a band that's still hungry and musically diverse. And our songs are never the same. They're never boring. They're never generic. They're never like, we don't do cookie cutter songs. Unfortunately, though, because we put so many records out in the latter part of our career, we don't have a lot of chance to play them live because people want to hear what we call the nuggets, the Sex Action, Electric Gypsy, Never Enough, Sex Action, Ballad of Jane, etc. So, quite often we'll have a 45-minute set, we'll have an hour set. So, it's great if we have like a full, 90-minute, 2-hour set, then we can put new material. But that's the other thing, you go and write these records and you spend a lot of time on it and you're happy with it. And, when the last one came out, Hollywood Forever, we were playing like 3, sometimes 4 songs a night.
Which is good.
Which is great, but, we don't play it 1 now.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone
really?
We've gone back to, the Nugget set.
Right. I know I want to hear more off Waking the Dead and Vicious Circle as myself personally.
Yeah. Yeah, Waking the Dead's great, and Vicious, and Tales. Tales is great.
Absolutely.
It Don't Mean Nothing. It's one of the best opening songs of any record, and it's just I listen to that. It's like, wow, this is good.
And you guys did Gypsy Soul in Toronto.
Gypsy Soul, yeah. Actually, we still do Gypsy Soul.
Good.
That's in our set. That's something that it's kind of like it's got a nice sort of like stripperish groove. The girls like it. And then the guys like the heavy metal. The One More Reason and the Electric Gypsy, and so it's we try and mix it up for genres, for like guys and girls and a different set.
Well, you guys are one of the few bands that do change the set list up, do make quality new albums. You're not doing, I'm sure we could name the bands, but you're not doing the same set list night after night. And to me, that's boring. I don't want to see that.
It's awful.
So I've stopped traveling to see those bands.
It's awful, and it's boring for us as fans. And you can see they're bored. They're mailing it in.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I don't want to do that. Don't want to be that. There are times, when we're really tired, you do 6 or 7 shows in a row, then it's not, the enthusiasm wanes a little, but no, we like to mix it up, keep it interesting for us and the fans.
Perfect. Now with Juan Maraca, he did a great job engineering Hollywood Forever. Would you consider using him maybe for the new album?
Yeah, I mean, sure, but I think if we can, Eddie's the guy, and Eddie's concept is something that we can relate to.
Absolutely. Now, with Hollywood being the theme of the last 2 albums, even though it's supposed to be a bluesy blues album, will it still be the Hollywood theme kind of involved?
I don't know. That's interesting. When we put the last record out, called it Hollywood Forever. All the people that played on that record are gone.
Mm-hmm.
Andy's gone. Stacey's gone. Scott's gone. The girl who played keyboards, my ex-wife Junko, she's gone too. I mean, everyone. It's almost like a curse that we did that. It's strange, because I was very inspired by the cemetery, the Hollywood Forever cemetery. And I just wonder if, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. I mean, everyone's all right, apart from Andy, God rest his soul, he's gone, but that had nothing to do with the record. It wasn't like he was run over by a bus. He was, his days were numbered, we knew that. But it's interesting that, and me, I'm not even there now. It's just, we're all ghosts, we're all Hollywood ghosts. So I don't know. I'm not sure if I really want to do. We've done the Hollywood thing, and I know, LA Guns is synonymous, with the dirty back streets of Hollywood, California, but I think we may have moved on.
Well, fair enough. I know whatever you guys will do, it'll be quality. And Hollywood Forever was a killer
Yeah,
album
absolutely.
too.
I couldn't agree more. That was really great fun to make, and I'll always be proud of that record.
Definitely. Now, you originally did some writing with Kenny Queens during his time in the band in 2009, 2011. Of course, I know he's back now, but will these ideas get complete for the new album that you did some writing with before he left, before Scott came back in?
I don't remember too much about what we wrote, and as it stands right now, we don't have a single song written for a new record, but that wouldn't be a problem. In the old days, the Stones and the Beatles, they used to go into the studio without anything, and they had a few rough ideas, and they'd just put it together there and then, and that's how I'd like to do this, instead of like, we wrote this song 4 years ago. It's no, I want to do it fresh.
That's good. Speaking kind of on that topic, for the last album, you guys recorded covers of Heavy Metal Kids Whiskey and Run 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 by JoJo Dillon. Did the covers get complete, and would they ever make a future, some kind of cover compilation?
It was Run Run by JoJo Gunn, and wow, you really know you're well researched. The Heavy Metal Kids song "Whiskey," which I love. It's just a great song, and I was, I was invited to do some shows with them, so I learned their whole set. I'm a big Gary Holton fan, the singer from Heavy Metal Kids, and I thought "Whiskey" might be good for Hollywood Forever. Just a big, fat groove, and just something that, I enjoyed doing it with the kids. But I have to be honest, Stacey Blades, who is an absolute genius guitar player, couldn't get it. He couldn't get it. It's a really easy, fat, simple groove, and Stacy is so technical that he just couldn't. It was just so beneath him to do that, and it didn't sound right.
Fair enough. That Live in Croatia CD is killer.
Thank you so much. It was, a dream come true for me to be in the band that I grew up listening to. My idol is Gary Holton. He became my friend, and to play with those guys was just really amazing. Really, enjoyed it. I worked hard. I studied for like three months to learn their set. And I was, we did a couple of shows in Croatia and we did one in London, and that was it. A bit disappointed that we didn't do more. I worked really hard. I wasn't expecting it, to be like a parallel career or something, but I thought they could come up with a bit more than 3 shows.
Well, it's pretty crazy. A CD and a DVD was recorded out of it.
Yeah.
Now, with the creation of your cologne Gypsy, any chance of us seeing some Phil Lewis candles, incense, or throat spray?
We already do incense, and it smells really, really good. I have a Gypsy here for you.
Oh, thank you.
I'll put the cards in. Here we go. I've got them here. A throat spray is interesting, hey? Candles, yeah. Incense, yeah. It's kind of a hobby, but this time of year it's kind of a lucrative hobby. It's like we've got big 2-ounce bottles that we're selling for $40 a piece, and that would last you a year. That would last me 2 years actually, because you only need a tiny bit. But we get getting 10 orders a week on that. Cha-ching. It's nice. I'm doing it anyway. I'm making it anyway, and there is an interest for it. And my girlfriend Kayla she's a graphic designer. She does all the artwork and she's very, very crafty girl, and she's done a great job. And we're thinking we were going to do a Christmas blend, just a Gypsy, but with something adding a little, I don't know, diesel oil or something like that to it. But yeah, it's going good. It's going really, really good. But throat spray, no, I don't know. That's ingesting, and I could get in trouble for that.
Sure, a lot of the singers could learn a lot. You still got the pipes as good as ever, if not better than before.
You got to take care of your voice, man. You got to, before you do a show, you've got to warm it up. You got to be careful after a show. If we were on the boat on the cruise with Spike, and after a show, and I knew I was screwed. I knew it. He kept me up all night talking and drinking, and the next day I couldn't talk. I had nothing. It took me like 2 weeks to recover from a night out with Spike after a show. So yeah, you got to be careful. You got to watch that. But yeah, it serves me well. So yeah, but I think actually I'm technically a better singer now than I was when I first started, because I lost the Toynkoss in Girl, and so I ended up having to become the singer.
Now, what about a new solo? And would Christy Majors be on it, since he's done a lot of the past acoustic shows other than lately?
He's more than welcome. He's a good friend. I enjoy hanging out with Christy, and he's also my agent as well. He's the director of Artists Worldwide, and he'll call me up and he'll say, "I've got a show for you in Nebraska," and my first question will be, "Well, you want to do it with me?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll do it," or if he can, if he can't, he'll you have a good reason for it, and then I'll just go and do it myself. But I really enjoy them. I really enjoy doing like solo acoustic shows a lot, because I can do it at my own pace. with a band, you'll have to be in sync with each other, of course. Otherwise, it's chaos. But solo, I can stop in the middle of a song and if something comes to mind, and then I just go right back into it, and I like having the freedom to do that.
Perfect. Now, what's the status on the project with Paul Chapman of UFO? Would it be like a solo album of his coming out, and you're going to be singing on a little bit of it?
He's done a great version of Dear Prudence, musically, and he did a rough guide vocal on it. But he wants me to do it, and I did one version. I sent him out. He's okay. But he wants to be here for next time I do it. He wants to produce. He actually wants to be in the studio. He doesn't want me just to mail it in. So we'll take it from there. I saw Paul a few days ago, last week, down in Melbourne, Florida, and he's looking great, sounding great. He always gets up and bangs out Rip and Tear with us, and the guys love him. Michael and our manager went over to his house after our show and came back shattered the next day. But yeah, it's amazing when you think that, I was touring with Paul Chapman in 1979. That's a long fucking time ago. And as far as the UFO guys go, I think he's turned out the best. I mean, Pete Way is just gone, and I knew he would be. There's no way he could sustain his lifestyle. I knew it was gonna come back. Like drinking Jack and Cokes at 8 a.m, and it's a shame, because he really is. Pete Way is the, it's the epitome of rock star. He looks great, plays great, moves great, just incredible. But I heard, he's working on a new record, and I heard a couple of songs, and all the songs are accolades to Narcotics, and it's like, we've moved on, Pete. We don't do that anymore. It's like, it was fun in the 80s, but now, it's just no place for it now. So I'm, I wish him well. But yeah, Paul, on the other hand, is just looking great, sounding great, lucid. Still drinks and parties and whatnot, but not to self-destructive levels.
Well, 2016 will your autobiography be released?
Nah, I don't think so. Not yet. It's going to be an epic book. It's not going to be a sketch. I'm going to get Winston Churchill on it. I'm going to get, I've got so many stories. I've been around for so long. I've seen so many changes. I know so many people that, it's interesting. Make it a really, really interesting read. It'll be thick. It's a very thick book, and I'm not in any hurry. I will. I mean, it'll definitely be started next year, but can't see it being finished. No, it depends. I mean, there's no reason why I couldn't do a chapter a month, but something like that, I'd have to be so focused. But yeah, it's definitely in the works.
Now, during your time out of LA Guns, when you were in Filthy Lucre, etc., were you asked to join or audition for any other bands at that time?
I made it clear when I left LA Guns. I left the music business. I was done. I was like, the bands got dropped. We split up, and I was done. It was just like this. It was a business that I no longer wanted a part of. I had my daughter had just been born, and it was time for a change. It wasn't a sabbatical. I'd retired. I was done, but not done with music. Done with being a professional musician. I still played music, and I still jammed, and I still wrote songs, and I recorded my solo record, but not as a professional musician. This was like a hobby at that point. And no, I wouldn't have accepted any gigs, and I never expected to come back to LA Guns. I was never ever, I was 4 years away, and I got a job right away. I mean, I had a good job. I was working, as a recording engineer for a
Fox, was it?
yeah, for Fox Network, Fox Sports, and I really liked it a lot. I liked working there. And I was making great money, and I enjoyed the people I was working with, and it was a challenging job. It was I was smart. It was just at the beginning of the Pro Tools explosion, and I didn't know much about computers, but I really was into recording, and I had a big 16-track studio in my garage. But I was really interested in digital recording, and I knew nothing about it. And I didn't even know how to switch a computer on when I took a course, a Pro Tools course. It was like a 2-week course. It was like 3 nights a week, and I nailed it. And so I was like, all right. And I sent some resumes out, and buffed it up a little bit, said that I was working at the BBC. That's stuff they could never check. And I got a couple of really good job offers, because nobody else knew the Pro Tools at that point. They were all in the old analog mentality, and so I did really, really well from that.
Definitely. Do you still own your bug coat?
Yeah, of course.
Nice.
That's it. I had great fun making that, and it was a gregarious period for me. I do that sometimes. I get, I like to dress up. I like to, I'm a big Gary Holton fan. I like to, make it theatrical. At the moment I'm not, I'm just, regular, just like playing and singing. But yeah, I like to, camp it up a bit.
The Sparklers,
yeah,
the opening show of Hollywood Forever.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I do consider myself a showman as well as a musician.
Now, what about your Vivienne Westwood white suit from the girl days? Do you still own that?
I wish, man. I mean, that suit cost me like £500 then. I can only imagine. It was linen. I mean, it was made out of sheet. So even if I did have it, it'd be moth-bitten and shredded to hell right now. But it was ballsy of me, of girl. That's the way girl were. We went out at Reading Festival during the height of the new wave of British heavy metal, and I went out in a goddamn white suit, and I got caned for it. They were throwing bottles of piss up on stage. They were throwing corn. They were pissed. And I didn't give a fuck. I never wanted to be part of the new wave of British heavy metal. We weren't heavy metal, and I was into bands like Sweet and Japan, and I fucking hate Iron Maiden. I still do. They're nice guys and everything, but I don't like that music. Galloping, just no. I can't stand that. And then there we were, right in the middle of it. Sharon Osbourne's dad, Don Arden's managing us, and he's livid. He signed this band, and he's trying to put us in this category of music, and we just didn't want to have anything to do with it, and it was kind of a nightmare.
They didn't know how to market you guys either, this way or that way, or
absolutely clueless. They liked the band. The only reason we got signed is because I was seeing Britt Ekland at the time, and Don Arden was managing her.
Oh, okay.
So she's like, "Oh, Don, look at my boyfriend, my Toy Boys band. Aren't they fun? Blah blah blah. Why don't you give them a record deal?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And then, but that was fun. But when he realized that we weren't about that, and he was really going to have a hard time. You understand? I thought Japan, the band Japan, were going to be the next Beatles. I thought they were going to be huge. I thought that was it. The music had come to a turning point, and the band like Japan looked great, sounded great, completely original. and for me, absolutely authentic. And I saw them going through the same shit. They were opening for Blue Oyster Cult at Hammersmith Odeon, and there had to have been about 25 people during their set just heckling and spitting at David Sylvian the whole set, just spitting at him and just being assholes. And he didn't quit. He played the whole set, and he was just covered in spit. And I was like, oh great, this is the path I've chosen. Fantastic. And so we got I was a bit more aggressive than David Sylvian. We did these Kiss shows. There's nothing quite like hearing 10,000 people growling after you just told them to shut the fuck up. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I was completely 100% wrong about that. So I don't know. I'm no Simon Cowell.